Well, welcome, listeners. This is Pamela Elaine again here with a great partner to chat with, Erica Huey, who is a human design expert. Erica brings her expertise looking at human design as energy, and I bring my expertise looking at humans in terms of their ability to connect with one another and oneself emotionally. So I'm the emotional intelligence practitioner, and Erica is the human design practitioner. Erica, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Happy to be back with you
I know.
today. I love our HDEQ chats.
HDEQ.
Welcome everyone.
Which,
Yeah, oh, yeah, we do have the tea. That's right.
well, I think it's important for us to kind of, this is all of our topics, I would say, are serious
Yeah.
and meaningful and worthwhile. But I think it's also just kind of cool to sit back with some of these heavier topics and have a lighter perspective on it, and therefore with our tea, because sometimes it can get a little bit heavy, and sometimes I have found that when things are a little bit too heavy, people check out. But if we can bring even a heavy topic and couch it in something that's easy to digest, then people will stick with us and listen, because what we have to say really is the transformation that people are looking for.
Mhm. I totally agree with that. Anytime we're talking about anything as far as emotions or just being a human being, it feels heavy. For some reason, talking about being a human being and that full experience and that trajectory, it's
Mm.
taboo or is shunned. Like, you can't
Yeah.
talk about the fact that we have feelings or we have thoughts or how we've experienced something that's different from someone else. So
Mm.
that's why I enjoy our chats, because it gives us, I mean, we're human beings too, and then others get to witness and join in our conversation. So feel free to, leave notes in the comments or ask questions, and you could join us in the conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. We definitely want people to participate in this live and then after the fact. It's
The
just,
playback, yeah, they could put
yeah.
comments in the comment section. Yeah.
There's something else you said that I just want to point out before we dive into today's topic. And for especially because of today's topic, there's so many people who feel like being a human being is so hard. It's just hard.
It is.
And sometimes it is. And I think what we offer is a way to make living the human existence alive,
Yeah.
fruitful, purposeful, beneficial, and fun.
You're allowed to have fun. Life is heavy. Some serious things we need to, face and overcome, but you're also allowed to have fun. That's synergy. I'm all about synergy. You could do both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me kick off this great conversation by way of the former Surgeon General's declaration in 2023.
Mm.
The Surgeon General said that loneliness is a public health epidemic, and that startled a lot of people. Loneliness as a public epidemic. Now, when you think about public health epidemics,
Wow.
you think of diseases. Like we had a huge public health epidemic with what really was a pandemic, which was
Hmm.
COVID.
Hmm.
And that certainly stressed the life out of many of us. So we don't think about loneliness as a public health crisis or epidemic or anything like that, because loneliness is not really a thing people would think. It's not like, how do you cure loneliness? Do you take a shot? Do you take a pill?
What?
Do you go to the physical doctor for it? But this is what the Surgeon General declared. And so I want to just drop a couple of pieces of data to undergird our conversation. So the Surgeon General declared loneliness is a public health epidemic, But here's the thing, the data that I'm about to share tells a stranger, more nuanced story than people are isolated. Okay. So this episode, Erica, between us, is going to unpack what's really happening and how emotional intelligence and human design offer a path, what I would say, back to meaningful reconnection.
Yeah,
How's that sound?
I like it. Let's chat.
Okay, let's check. So I'm gonna drop. So for those who like the numbers, here we go. So 21% that were there was a survey that Harvard did, and so the numbers I'm going to give are the results of that survey. So 21% of those surveyed said that these are adults that they deal with serious loneliness. 29% of those between the, now get this, between the ages of 30 and 44 were feeling lonely. This is the highest rate of any age group. 30 to 44, that age group had the highest number of feeling lonely, highest rate, to be clear. All right. So only adults who feel fundamentally disconnected from the world, that was 65% of those surveyed. Okay. Lonely adults who feel fundamentally disconnected from the world, 65% in that survey said yes to that. Two more pieces of data. So lonely adults who also report anxiety or depression in that group, 81% in that group survey said, yeah, I also have anxiety or depression. And then the most startling to me from an emotional intelligence perspective or lens is 57% of lonely adults said they were unable to share their true selves with others, even, get this, Erica, even when people were physically present around them. Okay, so there are people around you, you're not isolated, but there are people around you, and you still feel unable to share your true self with others. And this is not, I want to back up and say, none of this is judgment. This data is not judgment. It's not saying you're abnormal. It's not saying you've done something wrong. It is just data that is here to inform us on how to change this challenge. Now, before I even go any further, tell me what your reaction is to these numbers, Erica.
Yeah, so just your last point. I mean, social science is all about pattern recognition. So it is objective data.
Mm-hmm.
Social science is science. So we're not subjecting this, I'm sure this study and even in our conversation, we're not subjecting anyone to judgment, but we are looking at and considering, analyzing the data.
Yeah.
As social scientists. And so, yeah, it's not a right or wrong, good or bad.
Right.
It's just scientific data, social scientific data,
Yeah.
behavior and pattern recognition. Next, you made a point about the 30 to 44. That tracks with my sociology and social science brain as well.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull in a little bit of astrology because I'm aware that age 30, we enter into an energetic behavioral cycle that's called our Saturn return.
Okay.
And then at age 40, we enter into another energetic development or initiation to help you along the trajectory of your life. Around age 40, we call that the Uranus opposition. That's more commonly known as the midlife crisis. So while you're talking, I'm able to directly pull the cycles of life, the life cycles, the career cycles, the relationship cycles, all aligned with the data that you were sharing.
Okay, go back for a second. So you said age 30 is called the Saturn, what is it?
Saturn return. That literally means that the planet Saturn returned to the exact place in the sky where it was when you were born. then this is important just because of energy.
Okay.
Um, like we're just coming off of a full moon. So everyone understands and recognizes the full moon. They see it in everyday life. Now, whether they pay attention to it or whether they want to tap into the intelligence that comes with it, that's their choice. But it is what it is. We, scientifically proven that the moon controls the tides of the ocean. Women and their monthly cycle can sync up. So
Mhm.
the energy is not anything that is not already obvious and proven. And so just like the moon and then the sun, we every day the sun rises and sets and we rise and set with the sun. It controls
Mhm.
our life. So the moon and the sun aren't isolated. They are special, but the rest of the celestial bodies have an impact on us as well.
Okay. Okay.
So, um, excuse me. And so, particularly around age 30, Saturn has an energetic impact on us. And
Mhm.
it forces us to begin to reevaluate
Reevaluate.
and reevaluate ourselves because up until 30, we've been living the track of life where our family or whoever raised us has put us on. And then when we get to age 30, we start to finally become an adult because
Mhm.
even, neuroscience proves that your brain doesn't even finish growing until 25, right?
Mhm.
So energetically, Saturn comes and kind of codifies that as like, you energetically an adult at 30. So that's that big shift that you feel first.
Mhm.
You'll begin to, adult. And then at 40, Uranus, that planet, is in the opposite place where it was in the sky where you were born. So it has a different type of energetic pull on you.
Mhm.
And it makes you shift some things, re-identify people, places, relationships, jobs, things in your life. So you can shift into the person you're becoming and not the person you've been being for other people.
Mm. So letting go of the old and becoming new is one thing, one way of expressing it that comes up for me. And maybe there is this in between stage where you don't know who you really are,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
and makes the loneliness a little bit even more pronounced.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
really.
and that's why,
Mm.
I kinda just have a passion for educating people. Um, People use artificial intelligence every day. I don't know why we don't use more of our actual intelligence that we were born with. Our body has intelligence. We have energetic intelligence. We have emotional intelligence. We're allowed to use all of the intelligence. So,
Mhm, mhm.
so I really enjoy, synergy and putting all of the information together so you get a clear picture of yourself in the world you live in and how you work and how it works.
Mm,
And so that's a direct impact on feeling lonely because once you're able to orient and understand yourself, you know where you are in your journey
yeah.
and what are you being asked to do, where are you being asked to stretch and grow.
Mhm,
Because just because we physically stop growing around, 20-ish, we continue to grow psychologically, emotionally, energetically. And we
mhm,
forget just because we watch, 0 to 20 babies grow up and their bodies grow, we think we're supposed to finish growing.
mhm,
No,
mhm.
you're just getting started at 25, 30.
Yeah. Um, and I think it would be great when we're gonna offer the listeners, some call to action towards the end of this. And end of this conversation, I definitely wanna swing back around to something you said in terms of what they can do. But before that, I wanna just go back for a second to something you said. I think what's interesting is that people may not even be aware that they're feeling something that seems off, and they don't know that it is actually loneliness. There is they don't know how to name that thing that they're feeling, except they can probably articulate. I can't. What was the? Let me go back to the data. The 57% that they can, unable to share their true selves with others, even when people were physically present around them.
Mhm.
Maybe they can sense that, or name that, but not equate it with I'm feeling lonely. Does that sound like that fits?
Mhm, absolutely. And just everyday talk in layman's terms that people may easily identify with in nature. Um, like when a mama bird pushes the baby bird out of the nest,
Uh-huh.
she's making you uncomfortable, or she'll bring sticks, and so the nest isn't uncomfortable as comfortable as it used to be for the bird, and the bird will just kind of want to get
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
So loneliness, I'm talking about environment is the point. The mother bird makes the environment uncomfortable to force the baby bird to grow and trust and fly on its own wings.
Mm, mhm.
So you do that for yourself. And your environment, your life, the people, places, and things in your life reflect that back to you when it's time for you to grow.
Mhm, mhm.
You're gonna your environment, internal, external, will make you uncomfortable. And loneliness is part of that. Loneliness has a purpose. It's
Loneliness.
part of the growth cycle. Loneliness has a purpose.
I
And
would love for you to break that down a little bit more. That loneliness has a purpose because I can hear people like, "No, no, no, Erica." Loneliness is if anything, it is, a secret pain
mm,
no one should talk about or know about.
and that's a very interesting concept, being the fact that all of us are human beings and all of us get lonely.
Yeah.
So it's really unfortunate that it's a secret pain that we have to do
Yes.
in silence and suffer alone. It has a purpose, just like every other feeling, every other condition that you're in, every other emotion. It has a purpose. There's
Mm,
not a good or a bad. It has a purpose. The purpose of it, like I was saying with the mama bird, is to make you uncomfortable. It's a assessment point.
mm,
It's an assessment point. It's asking you to ask yourself, am I still in the correct environment for who I am right now and who I'm growing and becoming?
mm,
Or was this person, place, or thing from my past? And have I, excuse me, have I outgrown this person, place, or thing?
mhm, hmm,
So loneliness forces you to stop, isolate yourself because you grow in darkness. Another nature example from nature: seeds, they get buried in darkness alone. That's where all the magic happens.
mm.
So when I say loneliness has a purpose, that's you in your new seed form,
Mhm.
and that requires isolation. Elevation requires isolation. It has a purpose.
Elevation requires isolation. Oh, that's good. That's good. Elevation requires isolation. Okay. Um, I wonder if the seed feels lonely in that mulch or in that dirt. I
I
wonder if
like
it's
to think
ever
it feels purposeful. I like to think it knows its mission. I like to think it knows its purpose, and this is part of that
yeah.
process.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do was at least let's let me back up. I should have done this at the beginning and kind of give a definition of what loneliness is from the Surgeon General's work. Okay, so loneliness is not simply, I'm going to just read it directly. It's not simply being alone. It is a subjective, keyword subjective, meaning it's not objective. It's what
Mhm.
goes on inside of you. It's a subjective, distressing experience that results from perceived
Mm.
isolation or inadequate, meaningful connections.
Yep.
Specifically, the gap between the kind of connection a person wants and what really they actually have. Wow, that's powerful. I feel like I need to say that again. It is a subjective, distressing experience that results from perceived isolation and inadequate, meaningful connections. Specifically, the gap between the kind of connection a person wants and what they actually have. That is extremely clear. And what it tells me right away is that knowing your human design energy and knowing your emotional intelligence skill are two things that can help change your subjective perceived isolation from what you think is happening, what you want that you don't have, and what you can actually know and have.
Human design and emotional intelligence are tools you can use.
Mhm.
These
Yeah.
are tools you can use that you can strategically,
Mm.
logically, emotionally orient yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not the seed that's buried thinking, oh, it's dark. What am I supposed to be doing here? No one's here. You can be the seed that thinks, oh, I'm buried. Something's going to come out of this.
Mm.
I'm growing into something.
Mm.
Or
Mm.
like a caterpillar naturally isolates itself into
Mhm.
the chrysalis.
Mm.
It knows that elevation to become a butterfly requires isolation. It naturally puts itself in isolation. And then it liquefies itself. The physical body, it liquefies itself and it rebuilds itself into
Mm.
a butterfly.
Mm.
So
Oh.
isolation is required for transformation.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, isolate. Yes. Well, elevation requires isolation. And what was that again?
I just my instincts. I get the word and I give it to you. So I probably,
We'll go back in the
I
show
think
notes
I
and
just
do this.
said, yeah. Isolation is required for transformation as well as elevation.
Yes. Yes, isolation is required for transformation. Um, and so we don't want to minimize how painful
Oh
it
yes.
feels to be lonely. And again, distinguishing it from isolation. Lonely, you in the midst of people, but you still feel lonely. It's painful. And so for those of you who are listening to this and might be, keying into maybe that's what I'm experiencing. If you even think you might be experiencing it, you probably are experiencing loneliness. And that's okay. You are not alone. And Erica and I are here doing this piece because we want to offer you some tools to move through that loneliness, to reconnect with yourself, the new self, especially those between the 30 and the 44 years of age, and help you navigate this experience, this phase, maybe, because it doesn't have to define the rest of your life. So, Erica, tell me, just share a little bit about loneliness and the human design energy types, the 5/4/5 different energy types, and how that particular energy type might experience loneliness. And I'll go first.
Okay.
So, for those of you who have no idea, Erica did a human design analysis on me. And that just simply means that I gave her my date of birth, my date and year of birth, my location of birth, and my time of birth.
Right.
And it came up with some my human design type, but then Erica went further to explain and help me really understand what my human design energy type is, why it matters, why not knowing it has held me back in my life, and more specifically, there's some key element of my human design chart or profile, whichever word sounds right for you all, that addresses loneliness. Okay, so Erica, this is the first time I'm going to hear what it is that Erica's going to tell me, and I may either yay or be like, "Oh my God, I'm a lonely person." Oh my God. Okay, Erica.
Okay, so I
Me with
heard two questions. So first, I heard you ask me about loneliness over the 5 human design types, and then I also heard you ask me about loneliness in your specific chart.
Yeah, because I was willing to go first. Of the 5 human design types, my type, I was willing, asking you to kick it off with explaining how my type experiences loneliness, and then more specifically, my specific profile.
Okay,
And, okay, go.
so your type is a manifestor. That's your energetic type.
Mhm.
Um, and so a manifestor generally I would say, will experience loneliness because their body language, their aura, the Wi-Fi signal, we all put out our own Wi-Fi signal energetically. A manifestor's Wi-Fi signal that they broadcast out is can be repelling,
Mm,
keeps
mm.
people away.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's because they have a very important mission here. They are here to create things and birth things and blaze trails. And they can't do that if people are always in their way, in their face, or trying to stop them from doing that. Because other people can feel how powerful they are. And
Mm.
so it can feel lonely, but actually it's part of your design and it's part of your defense mechanism so you could do your job. For a generator or manifesting generator, loneliness may look like not having anything to respond to.
Mm.
So being in the correct environment matters. So you could see what lights you up or what stimulates you and what doesn't. So not having anything to respond to may be loneliness for a generator. You
Okay,
had to
so
go what?
let's stop right there for a second for clarification. Generator not having anything to respond to because a generator's energy type is to do. Is that
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like the name implies, generator, it generates 70% of the population are here to generate the literal life force energy,
mhm.
the juice of life, the getting the things done. Manifestors kind of set the stage, blaze the trail, drop the idea off, drop the invention off, and then generators, if it's aligned with their particular energy type will respond to it. It's like, oh, I got it from here, thanks.
Mhm.
Catch it and run with it.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay, what's the next type you wanna describe?
Projectors are
Okay.
20% of the population. Loneliness for a projector, I would say, can look like not being recognized for their their insight, because
Mm.
they are here to see the bigger picture and to help other people work smarter and not harder. So if they're not being recognized and being asked to come help, that may feel lonely to them.
Mm. And so you are a projector,
I
and
am.
you can speak very, very distinctly to this type. And one of the things that you've taught me in our multiple conversations is how important it is for you to be asked to give your advice, to join in, to give your opinion or whatever. And if not, you're kind of in the background. You're kind of silent.
Yes, yes, especially when I was in my not self, like when I didn't understand my energy type and my human design and just didn't understand myself. Because we kind of default to want to be generators. Everyone wants to be the movers and the shakers.
Mm.
And so I was, trying to get in or fit in. And then when I realized, and plus I was exhausted. I'm like, I can't keep up. I can't. And so then again, learning about myself and how I'm particularly designed to thrive, I stopped
Mhm.
chasing. And then when I started just spending time doing the things that I was naturally interested in,
Yeah.
I call it drinking water and minding my business. People people come to me.
Mhm.
And then like the energy just shifted. Or it was like, wow, I see you have now positioned yourself to where you're supposed to be. And
Mhm.
now the world, the universe is going to respond to you and just bring you everything. So
Mm.
once I got in alignment, that's why alignment is so important. If you're where you're supposed to be, everything you need will come to you.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I've experienced that firsthand. I help my clients, get to that point in their life. And so, yeah, so when a projector is not being recognized and say, hey, you're really good at this, or you have a lot of knowledge about this, or you're an expert in this,
Mhm.
no one's coming to ask them. And so when I'm drinking water, mind my business, my particular area of interest, each projector has their own area of interest. Mine happens to be human beings. Another projector can be computer science. Another projector can be wildlife,
Mhm.
can be puzzles or being a makeup artist, whatever the thing that you're naturally interested in. Go do that, projectors. If you're watching this, go do that get enthralled in that, and then the other types will come ask you when they're also interested in that or need a subject matter expert. They'll come get you
Mm.
and ask you to guide them.
Mhm.
And then the
Uh,
fifth one is reflector.
reflector.
Reflectors feel lonely when they're um, what they're mirroring back in the environment is not appreciated, when it's shunned, because
Mm.
that could be really painful for them because they're just mirroring back the actual truth in the moment.
Mhm.
But people, that saying, don't shoot me, I'm just a messenger.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
so that's the reflector. And so
Ah.
that could be a really lonely place to be in.
Okay. All right, and then the other one was the manifestor generator, but we already kinda talked about manifestor, we talked
We
about
did.
generator, so put those 2 together.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I wanna go back to the manifestor for a second, and the thing that's always been difficult, and I will admit it's still difficult for me to accept as a manifestor, and again, for those listening, I want you to know that you well, you might disagree with me on this, Erica, but Imma say it.
Okay, sure.
Um, you didn't necessarily choose to be a manifester, a generator, projector, or a reflector. Some would say you did choose in another frame of life, but let's for me, I'll speak for myself. I don't remember choosing. I don't remember choosing to be a manifester. Okay. Had I had a choice to choose, I would have probably gone for a generator because that's the majority of the population, and there's still a desire to fit in.
Yeah.
And as a manifester, I don't fit in. I don't fit in. That doesn't mean people don't like me. It's just that I have come to realize that I am different. And even admitting that, I feel like I wanna cry, but I'm not because
Yes.
it's not about that. But let me
You are born to be set apart. You're special. But I
okay,
know being special isn't
everyone's
always fun. Being special isn't always fun. It can be lonely sometimes. I can
precisely,
acknowledge that.
precisely, and before we got on this call, you said that there were things in my chart when you did the human design profile on me, there were some things that came up in my chart that point to loneliness. And I just want to know if you would share that briefly, what that is, what that means, and then we'll kind of give our audience some homework and call to action and call it a day.
So yeah, when we were just speaking for a few minutes before we went live, and you told me he's going to be talking about loneliness. I'm like, wow. Well, in human design, there are three distinct gates or energy traits that speak to loneliness. And I'm like, oh, that's gate 12 about caution, knowing when to speak and when not to speak. That's gate 33, about taking time to retreat,
Mhm.
to process an experience you had before speaking about it. Now, gates 12 and 33 are connected to the throat. So it's about when to speak. So if you speak at the wrong time, that's going to induce loneliness because people are going
For
to
the person speaking.
right, because other people are going going to not accept it if it's not the right time.
Mhm.
So caution, gate 12 is about caution, knowing the correct timing of when to speak.
Mhm.
And 12 is attached to your emotional intelligence. So, and then the 33 is about the gate of retreat or privacy is another name for it. And
Mhm.
that's attached to you, the core of who you are. It's called your G center in human design. So that's you speaking about this is what I know. This is an experience that myself or other people have had. And I'm telling you about it to help you have a better experience as you evolve.
Yes, and if you challenge me, and if you don't listen to me when I'm speaking from this place,
Yes.
then there is a natural feeling of frustration, I'm not understood, and definitely translates into loneliness.
You got it. You feel because because they'll reject what you're saying.
Yeah.
They'll reject what you're saying. So the truth is the truth, but we're all walking around having our own experience, and we're all different places of our evolution and our self-awareness. So that doesn't mean someone is ready to hear the truth.
Mm,
So you can still say it, but you also have to have some emotional intelligence in the meanwhile. Like, well, am I going to say this truth and just, because that may compromise our relationship because this person may not be ready to hear it.
yeah.
And that's okay, because it may be time for you as an individual to speak your truth so you can evolve. Because
Mm,
maybe that connection has ran its course and it's time to conclude anyway.
yeah.
So it's okay. And then the third, then the
40.
third, I'm sorry, it's the 40. Yeah.
40. Okay.
And that is in your excuse me, in your ego center. So it's like your willpower. And gate 40 specifically, I call it like the lone wolf. But it's about being a provider. It's about being the lone wolf to go out, get the kill, or the dad going to the job and,
Mm,
taking care of his stay-at-home wife and children. It's that you're alone on your journey, doing what you need to do to provide for your tribe, your group, and you need to be alone to do that. You can't interrupt me while I'm working. But once I'm done working and I bring home the bacon,
mhm.
40 expects some respect. 40 wants you to put some respect on his name. Because
Okay.
it's aware I've been out there, for you. This work I'm doing it for you to provide for my tribe. So
Wow.
I expect a little noise when I walk in the door, and a little thank you
Yeah.
for all my years of being married to you, or raising the children, or handling our taxes, or I expect a little applause, because this is a lonely thing, a lonely job that I have, a lonely responsibility that I have. So those are the three alone gates in human design. So when I see this in someone's chart, you've already shared you're a manifester, and plus you have these three. There are only three, and you have all three of the aloneness
Mhm.
gates activated in your chart. That just speaks even more that your message that you here to speak about, you are not designed to be interrupted. No one should, you're not designed to be influenced coming in. You're designed to be influential going out. So I know it's lonely at the top, but that's where you are. I
Okay.
know.
Okay. As I said, I don't remember choosing. Okay. I don't. But let me just also say, really quick, nerd things. So there's 66 gates, you said?
64.
There's 64 gates, okay.
Mhm.
And then, it doesn't you can be a generator, projector, or reflector and have one of these alone gates or loneliness gates. You don't
Absolutely.
have to be a manifester, right? Okay.
Type has nothing to do with your gate activations.
Okay,
As a projector can have all three, a reflector can have all three.
gotcha. And,
Absolutely.
and, and this is the importance of knowing your human design profile. So it's not just knowing the type. I'm a manifestor, I'm a generator, I'm a projector, I'm a reflector. That's not enough. What one needs is to go deeper into the gates and the channels and all these other things that you have been teaching me about in order to really understand who you are so that you can know how to take on the loneliness that all of us have experienced and will experience in some way, but it doesn't have to be loneliness that is detrimental, but loneliness that is transformational. That's why it's important to know more than the type. Yes?
Absolutely. I'm a projector, but my what I call my main character energy. So the energy that is about 70% of my energetic makeup, what people feel from me, is an individual energy. So they're circuitry types. So literally think of a circuit board. So whether in your home, in your garage, or you open up a computer and there's a circuit board, literally think of it like that. When I look at your human design chart, I'm looking at a circuit board, and I
Mm,
can see what circuits are there and active or not. And I'm just putting it together, and I'm telling you how you're designed to work. what buttons you need to push. You
Mhm.
know, if the lights goes off, I know which one here. You need to, push this one up and down a couple of times. Here you go. This is the
Yeah,
one. And
yeah.
so as a projector, the type doesn't matter. But so you could be an individual, have a lot of individual energy, and that naturally comes with a lot of aloneness. Because think of the word individual,
Mhm.
independent,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then the second type is tribal. So you've heard me talk about that. That's your family unit, that's your work group or team, right? So that's your group. We all have groups in sociology. And then the third is the collective. So that's humanity at large, society at large, all of the groups, different tribal groups combined into a larger society.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So the gate that I have, gate 8, is
Eight.
a individual gate. So the gate that makes up most of who I am, 70% of who I am, is about contribution, but it's about contributing as an individual. So that means I don't necessarily get to be part of the tribe either. I am
Mm.
here to be that outside consultant. I'm not there. I did it, but I'm going to feel better and feel more aligned with my purpose when I work outside of a tribe, a group, and I'm able to project what I see when they ask me to into the group so they could work harder and not smarter. So whether it's a business, a couple, or individual, so I'm not here to be in the midst of it. And yes, that is lonely sometimes because
Mhm.
I'm drinking water and minding my business, which is great. I've learned to bask in that until someone asks me, "Hey, outsider, come in."
Yeah.
But until then, you feel like an outsider.
Yeah, and I think you meant you can work smarter, not harder.
Yes, thank you. Of
Okay,
course.
okay. I just want because I don't wanna work any harder.
No, no,
It's already
that is
hard.
the opposite. Definitely work smarter, not harder. And I mean smarter as in I'm inviting you to use all of the available intelligence
Yeah.
that you have, not just artificial intelligence. Use your emotional intelligence, all of your smarts. You're allowed to use them.
So so you don't have one of the alone gates. You don't have a 12, 33, or a 40 in your chart.
I have a 33.
Oh, you do?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
this 33 is attached to the throat energy. So it's about speaking.
About
So when I mastered this a couple of years ago of knowing when to speak, 33 means it's retreat and privacy.
okay.
So even like we doing these lives now, it's kind of adjacent to my my alignment because I am designed. My 33 tells me to have an experience, process it in private,
Mhm.
retreat, and
Mm.
then speak about it. So
Mm.
my communication style, and I've experimented with this. I prefer to write because
That's
that honors my 33.
yeah. Well, you know what? That makes so much sense because those listening don't know the behind the scenes between us. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of insight I'm going to give them a little bit of insight based on what you just
Sure.
said. So when when Erica and I were like we first go on Zoom, talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we go on Substack, we go live on this. And what I've observed, and now it makes sense, is that when I introduce the topic behind the scenes, backstage, you always, and then you start writing something. You're quiet. You're not really talking a lot to me. And I'm like, she's not
I'm
talking.
listening to you. I'm
I
processing.
know, but it makes sense now what you do because it's in a lot, it makes sense with your 33 gate.
That's
That
what's
you have
correct
to
for
process
me.
for you've got to process what I'm saying quietly. I mean, we're zooming, but you're really kind of by yourself processing and writing down what you're experiencing so that when we do come together live, you now can communicate what you were processing in private.
So what you're just describing,
Yes, girl.
that you just realized and describing for others, what I said, loneliness has a purpose. See
Yeah.
how I force myself into loneliness so I'm not influenced to eliminate the external. I don't want external factors. I don't want external validation.
Yeah.
As a projector, I've been asked to focus on something. You invited me into a conversation. You
Mhm.
told me what the subject is, what you want me to look at, right? And we just, before we hop on live, we just, 2 or 3 minutes. You just,
Mhm.
hey, we're ready. We
Yeah.
do, a mic check, do the things, and we're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is all in real time, but you do give me a heads up, like, hey, well, it's loneliness today. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I do start focusing my projector energy, like, so manifester, your energy, your Wi-Fi naturally always kind of repels other, get out of my way. Yeah,
Mm.
I have a very important assignment. And then
Yeah.
as a projector, what turns on my Wi-Fi is when I'm invited to focus on something, to project, to put the spotlight.
Mhm.
So today you told me the spotlight is loneliness. So I'm like, okay, boom. And then I kind of isolate myself because I don't want any other influence or anything like that. I need to dig into my truth, my skill set
Mhm.
as an individual because I know my design and I live it every day. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Erica, your main energy is gate 8. That's about contributing as an individual. That's about contributing your unique style. Don't say it like anybody else. Don't try to be like anyone else. Don't repeat anything. And I need to tap into my individual, independent, isolated energy so I can come out on screen in real time or real conversation when I'm coaching people so I can be
Yeah.
my presence can be the present.
Mm.
And that's the gift and beauty of being an individual. Yes, it's lonely, but once is your time and that you're a seed and then you begin to sprout, your
Yeah.
presence is the present for other people. The flower has bloomed now because you did not allow anyone else to interrupt you when you were germinating. That's
So
exactly what happened.
that is really so interesting and so profound. So let me forgive me for putting you on the spot for a second. Um, so you experience loneliness, but not in the way the Surgeon General defines as an epidemic. You don't
I use
see,
it as a tool.
yeah, and the advantage of using it as a tool is because you understand your human design energy, your human design type. You know this back and back of your,
Yes.
okay. That I hope everyone got that.
Yeah.
Because in the absence of knowing your human design type, you can see this challenge and many other life challenges in a depleting and debilitating and disempowering way. When you know your human design type, you are therefore empowered to take these challenges and turn them around into something that can be meaningful, that can connect you to yourself and to others, where loneliness is not the thing that takes you down, but builds you up.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Okay.
Loneliness has a purpose. You even see it in songwriters. One of my favorite musicians is Mary J. Blige, and I was like, oh, of course I want her to be, happiness and health and all of the things,
Yeah.
but I've learned over the years watching her when she goes through a breakthrough, a breakup. Oh, we're about to have a fire album after this.
Mm.
She's going to isolate herself. She's going to write about it.
Wow.
Or Beyonce, she tells about her life in isolation, then when it's ready, just expresses as an individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
use the loneliness as a tool. So whether it's human design or whether you just born into a family or environment where you're encouraged to be an individual. So
Mhm.
loneliness is all about you not tapping into the fact and embodying and accepting the fact that, wow, I need to be independent in this moment, in this thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the Braxton sisters, the singing groups, they started off as sisters, but they knew and accepted that Toni Braxton has to isolate herself to elevate.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
she's still attached to her tribe, so she went back and got the rest of them.
Yeah.
But they accepted, like, okay, there's going to be some isolation and some individualism that the public is calling for, and we need to allow for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. And from an emotional intelligence lens, so just again to define, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions, manage them, and influence the emotions of others. So I just want to just throw that definition down when I
Mm,
say emotional intelligence for those who are listening, so that we're on the same page of what it means. Now, in the emotional intelligence, from the emotional intelligence lens, um, it being an ability, which is the same as a skill, which means something you develop, you pay attention to, you build, you develop. One of the most important skills is self awareness. It
mm,
is actually an emotional intelligence skill. And in the absence of self awareness, how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself, then we can never really get to living an empowered life if you're not aware of how you feel, who you are, how you respect yourself. Loneliness will be a beast that
mm,
overtakes you in the absence of self-awareness, and something as simple as I mentioned this earlier, that some people don't even are not even aware that they're alone. They feel lonely. One important thing is to be able to say, I feel lonely. I feel alone. Like sometimes that's enough. If
mm,
you can name it, you can tame it. And the key here in the self awareness skill set is to be able to say what you feel and to get as accurate with that as possible. Because when you can, then you can start the journey to changing that feeling or using that feeling to empower you. So, human design, definitely need to know your energy type. Emotional intelligence is a function of being able to use that design type to reconnect and feel like you have a meaning in this life when you're in operation with other people. That's what I want to say about emotional intelligence.
I love it. I love it.
So let's wrap this up. Let's What's your biggest takeaway? And then what would you say people should do now? What's the call to action? So biggest takeaway and your call to action. And I'll do the same.
Um, what I want people to walk away with is first accepting that feeling isolated and lonely is part of your experience of being a human being. You're
Mm,
not wrong for it. There's
mm,
nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're just disoriented.
mm,
Lonely is kind of like feeling lost. So think of yourself like being in a new mall or a new airport. You
mhm,
could feel lonely, isolated, lost until you find, that board, that directory board that says you are here.
mhm, mhm.
And then you can orient yourself. I'm no longer lost. I'm no longer isolated. I am here. Okay, now where do I need to go next? Oh, I
Mm,
need to go to terminal A. In everyday life, I am here. I just I don't know, I just graduated. I just finished a relationship. I whatever, right?
yeah.
Just became an empty nester. Whatever your thing is, you need to orient yourself to where you are in life. I am here. Okay, so let's accept that, breathe on that, take a breath, accept the need for isolation. And this is a little time to be independent because you get to decide. You can use this as a tool, use your emotional intelligence as a tool to say, where do I want to go next? What are my next steps to the person I'm becoming? That's
Mhm,
what I need to focus on. What type of plant am I going to grow into, with me being a seed? I'm a caterpillar. Okay, I need to go on my chrysalis now because now the next stage of my life is being a butterfly. I need to focus on that.
mm, mhm.
So I just want to encourage people that it has a purpose. What is the word people use to describe? It's not a sadness, but it's a melancholy. I
Okay.
think, yeah,
Mhm,
is the word. So it's a purpose to it.
mhm, mm,
Creation is an on switch and an off switch.
yeah.
But both has its purpose. So just want to leave you with that. It has a purpose, like I've said before. And once you are able to understand it, whatever tool you use. So in the space that you and I work in is kind of when you're ready to orient yourself and move forward. Of
Mhm,
course, for those watching or listening, if you first need to process things from your past, of course, that's what a counselor or a therapist can help you do.
Mhm.
That's a different function. But whatever you use in your life, just to become aware, to name it and use it, turn it into something, turn that lesson into a blessing.
So, okay, so I hear your takeaway, and I also heard in there a call to action too. So, restate what you think they should do right now. Soon as this call is over, what should
But
they do?
well, if you're interested in the way that I use the tool of human design to orient you,
Mm,
I invite you to my website. I invite you to a one-on-one session with me,
mhm,
satorisynergy.com. You can find my I have a library of things that you can read. My YouTube link is there. You can go watch videos that talk about this. You may be watching this on YouTube right now.
mhm,
So go check out me and Pamela Lane's prior videos on different topics.
mhm,
So I offer orientation, and then of course, like I said, I'm available for a one-on-one. Pamela Lane mentioned her human design analysis session, so I'm
mhm.
happy to do that for you as well.
Game changer, game changer, human design analysis for sure. So thank you for that. I would say my biggest takeaway is actually something you said, that isolation requires transformation. And loneliness you can look at as the experience you need to transform it. And I don't know, I think most of us want a transformed life. Whether we say it out loud or we say it privately to ourselves, we want something new, something different, something fresh. And I believe that loneliness can be that thing that helps you transform. So we take something that's hard and painful and debilitating and turn that around to meaningfulness and connection. And I definitely would say the call to action for that is the human design analysis, because actually I'm gonna give two big takeaways, and I think I'm gonna try to tie this in together. Because as I quoted at the beginning, 57% of lonely adults say they were unable to share their true selves with others. And I would say, do you know what your true self is?
Oh,
You may think you know because of the conditioning you received as a child, and you carry that on into your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, some of us. But do you really know your true self? And I think you cannot say you do unless you know your human design type and know how to use that type in an emotional intelligence profile or assessment the same way. So my call to action is know your human design type. Um, and the second call to action is know how emotionally intelligent you are as a measure of your skill set as well. And there's lots of books on emotional intelligence. One is by Dr. Daniel Goleman. It's great. One is by Dr. Travis Bradbury. It's great. So you can learn about what emotional intelligence is from theory and concept and application. And then if you want to get serious about it and you're like, I understand what emotional intelligence is, I want to know how smart I am emotionally, then there's information that you can get from my website as well, and do an emotional intelligence assessment if that's what you want. If you want to go deeper and get really specific, that would be another call to action.
I love it. Perfectly said.
Thank you again for the Erica and Pamela Lane chat with T. And we'll see everyone next time. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.